First up is your neighbor running a Chinese baby farm and what you can do to stop the invasion. Next, the Pedro Pascal, Jennifer Aniston, Barack Obama throuple, with the three people being in a relationship, trying to figure out the logistics of what should go up Barack's ass. Next, exclusive audio from the FBI field office working hard to redact the Epstein files. With reports of fecal transplants curing cancer, we check in at a premium turd store.
This one right here is more, it's like bubble wrap. It's gonna.
It's got a little pop to it.
It's a little bit. No wipes on this one.
No wipes.
No wipes at all.
Yeah, I've been running through toilet paper. Yeah.
Just straight out.
Yeah.
This one here.
That one.
Come on.
Yeah.
This one right here, this is some premium shit right here. Smell it.
Yeah, it's got a little
Nice waft to it, you know what I'm saying?
It's your daily dose of misinformation, pulled from a lightly hemorrhoided asshole. It's today's Run Your Mouth!
What is up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Run Your Mouth podcast. And based on the current live feed, I don't think 10:40 in the morning is the ideal time for Run Your Mouthing. Usually by this point in the show, we got a couple hundred guys getting active in the chat. Today, we've got all of 16 people, but welcome 16 people. You guys are in for a fantastic Run Your Mouth episode. And we're going to explore more of the silly storylines today, shorter articles, as I hit the road to Boston. All right, couple announcements while we wait for more people to show up. And, you know, people are going to show up. They're going to be here in masses. You just wait. They're sitting at their desks right now. They're thinking about what they want to order for lunch. They're bored. They realize they don't want to work their office jobs. Everyone just sits at home and plays with their dick now anyways. So welcome to the Run Your Mouth podcast, where you can get an education on everything that happened this week. People, Des Moines, Iowa. I'm going to be there in like 2 weeks. Next week, I'm going to be up in Steamboat. I got to hit up some of the regulars. I hope to see your faces out there. Let's go mix it up in the trees. I actually bought some skis. I got some good gear. Let's make it happen. Listen, I'm not going to torment you guys with too many announcements, but I do have a favor to ask for every single person listening to the Run Your Mouth podcast. I know I ask you guys to do a lot, but this one's big. I need you to go watch Lampman and Bottle Boy. I'm not going to drop it into the podcast. I'll take a minute and a half of your time, and it took 3 full days of my life to put together. It's epically stupid. I'd like to film more epically stupid things. I mean, this was peak retardation. What I sat down, wrote, executed, filmed, green screen, the works. This is the height of cinema, and I'd like to see some more views on the thing so I can rally the troops and film a whole series out of it. I've got like 9 franchises in mind for Lampman and Bottle Boy. That's going to be my Star Wars. That's going to be the moneymaker. It's the dumbest thing I think I've ever done, and I need more people to watch it so I can go back to my good friend Menu and Hard and go, man, the money's in Lampman. I know that this is the character that you least like playing, but this is where the money's at. This is where the cash grab is. The cash is in playing Lampman, so I need you to put back on that lamp and get out there and not smile for the camera because it's behind a lamp anyways. So anyways, everyone, Robbie the Fire. That's the main channel. I know you guys like to congregate in different areas. Some of you guys prefer the Rumble. Some of you guys prefer the Spotify. Some of you guys like the Twitter feed. Everyone's like, can't you just slice up the short and email it to can you knock on my door and hand me the short directly on my iPad for me to watch right now while I'm on the can you actually show up to my bathroom while I'm taking a dump and hand me it already loaded in an iPad with the sound off with all of the words in front of me so I can half pay attention to it while wiping with the other hand. And in this case, no. Lampman and Bottle Boy should be a theatrical release nationwide. It should be viewed by loving and adoring audiences who collect in a movie theater together. Wouldn't that be funny, selling a ticket for a movie that's all of a minute and 30 seconds? Anyways, everyone, go check out Lampman and Bottle Boy. And then finally, I've been taking my Addies. I've been getting after it. I've been sending out those Porch Tour emails. I think Porch Tour is going to run all the way up until Skankfest, and I'm going to take myself a break, trying to be on the road every single weekend between now and Skankfest to make sure that I got some good stuff while I'm out there. We do have some locations I'm looking to scout. Montreal, you're en route. I'm doing Quebec or something, or Ontario. I think I'm doing Ontario, and then I'm going to be going to I'm not good with town names. Somewhere in Vermont the next day. So you're right there. I'm going to be going through Montreal no matter what. If someone could hit me up with a porch, Orlando, I'd like to do. And if you got a backyard, we don't actually need a porch. I bring my own porch. I come out a day early like Jesus with hammers and nails, and I build it so that I have a proper altar for telling my jokes. But, if you're out there and you got a property, robsnewsroom@gmail.com. All right, let's get into some news, shows, some topics brought to you by Yokratom.com, home of the $6 kilo. Only place in the entire world you can get an entire kilo of kratom for just $60. All right, so let's start off and let's talk a little bit about this signal shenanigans. And I know you guys have all been hearing about it from everyone else for a couple days. We did a whole episode of part of the problem on it. There isn't that much more new information for us to delve into, but there's something that no one else is talking about. A secret code amongst the information that was put out on that signal that nobody else has caught or feasted their eyes. No, it's not that splendid. It's not that splendid, but you gotta sell the things. If you do too much intro and people are getting bored of the show, you got to start making, I have it on good authority. So here we go. The Republicans, they gone fucked up, and they're going to have to take their lashings. They messed up. And I don't know if someone on the deep state was undermining the Donald Trump administration. Someone was trying to go, look, these people can't be handling all the Secret Service military and the this and the that. And so they purposely weaseled the enemy of Donald Trump into the chat just so that they could expose, hey, people like this Pete Hegseth got to go. We need actual professionals here. And then they could bring in more of their deep state people. You can come up with whatever conspiracy you'd like to come up with. At the end of the day, they made a bit of a blunder while they're out there trying to pretend, hey, we're the professionals. We can get this done. We're better than those Biden idiots. They made a blunder. And in the team sports of politics, they're going to take an L on this one. And you're going to hear a lot of yelling about it. And they got to take the L because guess what? They gone fucked up. But now, for all the Democrats that are going all extreme of people could have died, this was classified information that you guys put out. All right, listen, I feel like the Houthis, you could probably call them up and go, listen, I'm going to be bombing you tomorrow. And what the fuck are they going to do about it? And all the information's classified. They just declassified that people were astral projecting themselves into finding the tabernacle of the, everything's classified. Any conversation they have, you go, yeah, you might as well classify that one, classify this one, put a C on it. All the information's classified. As a total ADD moment, I got to get myself in Signal because apparently that is the best in having secret communications with people. I'm out here just texting, pretending like the CIA doesn't watch my every move, pretending like the NSA doesn't have all of it. Apparently just Signal. Apparently for all the talk, this is the peak socialism that we live with, is that the best in technology is actually coming from the private market, if that's even the story. We'll find out down the line. CIA or everything that's good, the CIA has to do outside of government. That's like the real Jack Bauer story, is not someone who has to defy all orders and then break the conventional ways of going about things. And it's just that in order to have any sort of technological development, you have to leave the formal channels so that you can actually have innovation. And so all of these things could have been developed by the government. And, socialism could actually work and turn a profit. But every time that they have a good idea, there's too much bureaucracy in governments. They have to secretly leave government with their government ideas to actually develop things like the internet or the better communication technology that's encrypted. All right, too much ADD today. We had a very simple point that we were trying to make here, which is the Republicans, they messed up. They're going to have to take some lashings here. But for all the talk of how dangerous of a leak this was and people could have died on the ground, I'm calling bullshit on that one. I'm calling bullshit. All the information is classified. And you really think if the Houthis knew when and where we were coming with our Predator drones, they would make any changes in any capacity, or that any of our servicemen would actually be in danger? And so on that point, because I'm saying you could probably call these people up and go, hey, just wanted to let you know I'm going to be bombing the exact location where you are tomorrow. So good luck hiding from me. It would probably make it better sport. I don't even think that would keep them out of the line from our Predator drones. And so here you have from the New York Times in trying to sell you on how dangerous this leak was. And once again, people follow the nuance. The Republicans gone messed up. They're going to have to take some lashings here. They messed up. And as to how they didn't know that this guy was in their group meeting and as to why they're having conversations this casually on Signal, they messed up. But the idea that this was information that could have gotten our service troops and whatever killed seems a little bit outlandish. And so while the Democrats are out there Jew lawyering it up, pretending, hey, people could have died, the dangerous of this administration and their mishandlings and their blah, blah, blahs, here's from the New York Times why it matters. The Houthis have shot down American drones and fired at U.S. ships. They have coastal defense and anti-air missiles. Maybe if they'd foreseen the attack, they could have threatened the safety of American pilots. That's a fun double leap. Maybe if they had foreseen it. So perhaps if they had foreseen it, they could have threatened, not even killed, not murdered, not injured, but they could have threatened American pilots. Of course, the first sentence, you also have that they've shot down American drones. I guess they've never actually successfully shot down American pilots. So you might have endangered some of our drones. But I'm just saying, your most outlandish version of proof for why this was dangerous to American service people, as reported to the New York Times, is that maybe if they'd foreseen the attack, meaning if they had foreseen the attack, this wouldn't even necessarily happen. The worst case scenario is they could have threatened American pilots. They're not even comfortable saying that anyone would have died. It is not something on which the government usually gambles. I'll take that gamble. That doesn't sound like much of a gamble. Go with the fun Donald Trump thing where he sends the pictures. I'm about to bomb you. Get ready. Hide and seek. You got 1 day to go and hide. I'm coming to bomb you. I mean, if the whole thing's about sending a message, so let the people know that they can't hide anyways. All right. And then, they did Pete Hegseth dirty. Firstly, the Atlantic's stupid. You've actually got a bombshell of a story now and people are interested. Take the website traffic and don't paywall the story for the other news publications to publish the interesting part, which is the screenshots. And so you got this douche over the Atlantic who managed to somehow weasel his way into this conversation. Somebody loops an enemy of Donald Trump into the conversation. And so at first he goes, hey, I don't want to publish all the information because there's military secrets in it. Pete Hegseth goes, there were no military secrets in there. It was just the conversation. And then they decided to actually put out what the secrets were that could have endangered American servicemen. And so this was the apparently the top secret information that he didn't want to put out on the first run of the article. He put it out then today. This is from the New York Times, which gave you the information that the Hill didn't want to just make available. Bunch of idiots over there. Pete Hegseth. Time now. Weather is favorable. Oh, guys, I mean, that's some top secret information right there. You're telling that we got a top secret weather confirmation. I guess, I mean, there's no indication that he spoke directly to the Jews that are running the weather. It's no, hey, hey, guys, make sure no one knows about this, but I actually spoke to the people running the weather machine over at the CIA, and they're going to be able to get us clear skies that day. It's nothing like that. It's just, hey, guys, weather's favorable. Top secret information here. You could turn on and see they got the weathermen. They got the weathermen in here. We can't be having this kind of information leaked on Signal chats. This is the top secret shit right here. Is that favorable weather conditions. Just confirmed with CENTCOM, we are a go for mission launch. F-18 launch first strike package. All right, I guess you got the timing of the F-18 launch. Trigger-based F-18 first strike window start target. We'll do it in the military voice. Target terrorist is as his known location, should be on time. Also strike drone launch MQ-9s. I guess people can now be aware of the fact that we use drones and military gear when engaging in taking on targets in foreign locations. This is real top secret stuff here. I mean, if you were Russia and you were trying to figure out what kind of stuff, I mean, I think Russia's been sitting around thinking that we just had lightning strikes and that we were able to lightning buildings, but we can't be targeted enough with our lightning, which is why so many civilians have to die when we do it. And now, because the classified information has leaked, even Russia will be aware of the fact that we don't use lightning strikes, but it's actually military equipment, including F-18s and drones. Top secret information here that could have endangered the lives of our military because top secret information has gotten out. 1410, more F-18s launch second strike package. Strike drones on target. This is when the first bombs will definitely drop, pending earlier trigger-based targets. F-18 second strike targets, also first sea-based Tomahawks launched. And so they're going to be out there. They're going to be trying to sell as much as possible that this was an endangerment to our Americans fighting abroad. And listen, the Republicans gone messed up. They're going to have to take some lashes. But the storyline of this endangered American serviceman seems like nonsense to me. They do look like a bunch of assholes, though, when even on this one, typing too fast, the first target, their top missile guy, we had positive ID of him walking into his girlfriend's building and it is now collapsed, which, you know, you don't want to be celebrating. Great, we were able to kill innocent civilians. Like, that's it. That's the proof that they thought they were in a private chat right here. Is the reaction, and that I don't think that the people in this chat were purposely trying to leak this information to let the Europeans know that JD Vance actually doesn't like them, and we're serious about Europe's got to start paying its fair share, and that's not just false bravado. I mean, the moments like this of you know, and you would at least think you would just go, we managed to get that target. You wouldn't even want that in writing in your private chat of the fact that you're acknowledging that you didn't strike him until you saw him walking into his girlfriend's building, which is now, I guess, a building of other civilians. All right, moving on. Let's take some comments. There's all sorts of comments here. I see you guys commenting away. I feel bad. I've been ignoring you guys thus far. First, starting with John Popick. I'm looking for the Bottle Boy merch. Gotta rep those blockbuster movies. If I can figure out how to get AI, because, dude, AI spit out a perfect Lampman and Bottle Boy poster, but they spelt Lampman wrong. And then I spent the next 2 hours trying to clean that up, which is a waste of time. I should just hit up AP Zender because he's real good at that stuff, which is Mises Pieces. You guys can follow him on Twitter. He's done most of the artwork on most of the things I've done. John Popick, I love Lampman and Bottle Boy. Lampman was cool, too. Thank you, sir. Major Tom, if you've been to Hawthorne, California, you've been to Reno, Nevada. I think you said that wrong, but yes, I've been to both those places. California is going to be in September. Reno, I'm working on. The Reno show that we did a couple years ago at that outdoor venue was a great porch tour show. The problem is it's a little expensive getting to Reno, and there's no direct flights from New York. So if I can figure out a San Francisco or looping it on to another route, I will be there. It's on my list. Reno is one of the places I've been fidgeting with the calendar a lot to figure out how to fit it on because I would like to do Reno. Major Tom, we just have more freedom out here to do whatever the hell we want. I like the sound of that. Janker, the Tucker's signal got hacked. So I guess you're saying that it is possible to hack Signal. John Popick, Trump's getting soft. He should have fired Waltz the day that leak came to light. I think his strategy here is more that he would like to underplay it so that it doesn't look like the administration actually did anything that bad. I think firing Waltz in some ways does admit, hey, we had a mess up here and we got sloppy. And I think he'd rather downplay it. And the approach they seem to be taking is that Signal was cleared by the CIA as a tool that should be used, and that this was a mistake here, but this wasn't the important or classified information, and it's not that big of a deal. So I think he's just trying to play it off as not that big of a deal. But it does seem like that Waltz guy is undermining him, or at least is the loose link incompetence at a bare minimum. So I agree with you. You're fired. Major Tom, I didn't realize you had your own YouTube channel, dude. Your skits are amazing. Well, thank you, Major Tom. And tell your friends. I only mention it all the time. Robbie the Fire, all one word. A lot of content there. All right, last comment, and then we're getting back into the show. I'll take matzo balls, too. You guys are regulars. Alan Thickdick. This is a really good scandal to go public because the real scandal is that we are doing wars again. But anyone who knows this is watching the media completely cover the wrong parts of the scandal. You know, that's a fair point, and I guess I'm playing into the sucker of the media's game as well, which is just dealing with the fun shenanigans of, hey, look, you guys messed up. You can't even have secret communications when you're doing wars that aren't in our interest. And when I say it that way, you know, you got me there. I'm not focusing, I guess, on the right part of the story. We did a whole part of the problem about it. But yeah, I guess you're right. The more interesting part is that we're bombing countries without congressional approval in areas that we're not supposed to be having wars in, and we're killing civilians in the process. And I guess the fact that we're all more upset that they are not having, they're not doing a better job of having secretive communications about the wars and bombs that are not in the American strategic interest is the bigger storyline. You know, sometimes the people in the comments have some good notes. Matzo balls, Robbie, how do we make the break from Israel? Are we going to support them until the U.S. falls apart? Too heavy of a question. Let's move on. Next topic, brought to you by sheathunderwear.com. You can actually just go to sheath.com because Bobby the Bank's making the big bucks. Guys, it's coming up on the summer seasons. You want to make sure that your sweaty balls are nice, cool, calm, and collected, separated from your penis, separated from your disgusting, hairy man legs. I've seen how fat and out of shape some of you porch tour goers are. By and large, we look like a moderately healthy bunch, but we drink. But anyways, you don't want all that stuff mashing together like mashed potatoes, all greasy between your legs all summer long. There's a better way, and it's with sheath.com. Use promo code RYM. You get yourself 20% off the greatest underwear that's ever graced the balls of man. The official summer porch tour wear of the Run Your Mouth podcast. Sheath Underwear, longtime sponsor of the show. And while I'm out in Boston, I'm hoping to go to the Harvard Coliseum and run the stairs and train for beating Bobby the Bank. And I did one session on the Stairmaster, about 25 minutes. Has anyone taken the Stairmaster challenge? I think one person could probably just send me a single picture of themselves on a Stairmaster for 5 minutes and get $250 of free merchandise from sheathunderwear.com. You know, I'm trying to motivate you guys to get out there, get in shape, work on those nice butts, have some nice butts going, stand on the Stairmaster, take those big steps, stand next to the other women who are sweating all out of their faces, have a good time at the gym, and take a single picture, and you'll probably win the free package of $250 worth of merchandise from sheathunderwear.com, which is a year's supply. That's like, that's like, I don't know, 10 pairs or something like that. Unless you're shitting your pants a whole bunch. These pairs last forever. That means you just got to do laundry every 9 days. And that's enough sheath forever. I still have my original pairs. Hold up. All right, let's go. 23andMe files for bankruptcy, stating that there was a difficulty finding new people who wanted to give their DNA to the deep state. And let me tell you, if you're out there and you're one of these idiots that decided to send your DNA to 23andMe, I feel like you better delete that information now. You better show up to that factory. You better make sure that you've expunged the record of your DNA, because if not, at some point in time, you're going to be vacationing in China and you're going to run into your own clone. And if you don't believe me, it's because you haven't watched enough science fiction movies and you don't know the way the world actually operates and how many people that China is working through CRISPR to try and get American DNA to make subtle changes to see if they can make them look more Asian, but still have American attributes. And then they can't kill off those clones because what they need to do is actually release them into the wild and see how they survive, particularly as they continue to release new viruses that they're hoping to get into America to shut down our country once again. And while none of those things affect you if your clone is just roaming the hillsides of China and you never run into it, believe me, you don't want to be on vacation with your wife when you see a younger Asian version of you just passing you in the streets of China, and then you have to have a conversation about the fact that you never went over to China, you never had a Chinese girlfriend, that's not actually your child because you slept with some Asian women. You don't want to have that conversation, and you don't want to have to be trying to explain the fact that it was actually the 23andMe at one point in time. You thought it'd be fun to find out whether or not your lineage was 1,000% Jewish or maybe 2% black. You don't want to have that conversation. So anyways, heed my warning right now that you should do what you can to speak to the people at 23andMe. And you know what 23andMe was for? It was for people that had to go to a party and had no idea what to get the person. And they're like, yeah, maybe that'll be fun. They can look up their DNA. And then a person who at some point in time was so bored at home because they had no life whatsoever, and only people that have no lives throw birthday parties that people as adults have to show up to and then figure out what gift they're going to get for their adult friend. So you deserve this. I just want to say a lot of times horrible things happen to very innocent people, but this is the punishment for people who live such boring, reprehensible lives that they burden their friends with adult birthday parties. and they don't have any specific hobbies or interests, so their friends and relatives don't actually know what to purchase them. And so they just go with, hey, why don't I give them the DNA testing kit and hope that they were never involved with any crimes that then get linked in the FBI database when it gets sold off to the government. So, listen, you know how many times my dad has been leaked across companies and I get a little letter and they're like, hey, this is Geico. We just want to let you know that someone hacked all of our information and they now have your social security number. And then you're like, oh, I better buy the insurance now from Geico that protects me. And then you find out it doesn't protect you. It just lets you know when the stuff is popping up on the deep dark web. And you're like, great, now I just know that the people have it. And so that was just me purchasing insurance. I'm not at any fault for that. I didn't do anything to invite that chaos into my life. But if you're a person who actually throws an adult birthday party and don't have any specific interest that none of your loved ones know what they should or shouldn't buy you, and then they get you the shitty gift, you invited that into your life. And so listen, I still feel bad, which is why I'm going to give you the warning that you better go and retrieve your DNA while you still can, and so that you don't end up in China there with your wife running into your own clone and then having to explain to her that that's from your 23andMe DNA and not because you cheated on her with an Asian woman. So I'm still going to give you the warning. I still want you to be aware of the fact that that can happen to you, but I'm just saying, of like all the things that happen in the world and how much sympathy you have to give to people, you invited a little bit of this chaos into your life. So I put it off. I give it a 5 on the sympathy scale, a 5 out of 10. All right. Next story I have for you is this new, or like I said, we're getting into the nonsense news today, is Michelle Obama's new haircut, which does that not clearly say I'm getting a divorce? Have you ever, I mean, that's the haircut when mom and dad are going through a divorce. Dad or mom is rushing out to their job. You go downstairs, you see your kid starting to dress like a goth idiot. And you're like, are you really wearing that? You're like, ah, fuck, I don't have time. Just get in the car. Let's go. All right. Now, this one's important. If this one I'm learning. This is if you guys can't see it, this is Owen Schroyer, I believe is the guy's name. He works over at Alex's Jones's network, InfoWars. I'm not a regular follower of InfoWars, but every time I see this guy's clips, he's fun. He's got an Alex Jones quality. He's an articulate, handsome loudmouth. I respect other handsome, articulate loudmouths. I prefer a bald guy, to better represent my own community. But let me tell you, I got to get myself on the Alex Jones supplements, because if you want a swatting body, you want, if you're getting swatted where you're actually at home thinking, I better take my shirt off so I can get this kind of picture up on the internet and show people that I got some abs and some tight titties. That's what you want. You don't want to be scrambling going, listen, I understand that once again, we have no system or protocol in place for people that just want to call the government and say, hey, that person has a gun in there, or he's keeping hostages. And so then the government has no choice but to kick down random people's doors. The fact that there's no protocol for this and that the government doesn't seem to go after and punish the individuals that make this phone call. Are there still payphones in the world? How are people calling up the government and going, hi, there's an emergency that you got to send the SWAT team for, when there's not an emergency and they don't find those people every single time? You would think, like, of all the PSA campaigns that we've seen, there would be one for, hey, these are people that we put in jail last year because they called us and said that there was an emergency when there wasn't, or swatting gets people killed. You would think with all the government propaganda of things that can harm and kill people, they would have solved this one by now, and there wouldn't be this many instances of the government just taking a phone call and then, without doing any investigations of the accuracy or nothing to punish the individuals that make these phone calls, just throwing open people's doors and pretending like there's an actual emergency and just assuming that the person whose house it is that the emergency is happening at is, I guess, the person who's inflicting the emergency on. Like, in other words, if you call the cops and you go, hey, there's a hostage situation at this guy's house, you would think they could do a little operational research before busting in the door to go, hey, who's the guy that owns the house? Here's what he looks like. Okay, I guess that's probably not the guy who's doing the hostage situation. But anyways, God bless the Alex Jones supplements. People being pulled out of their houses, shirts off, got the Jesus pose going, showing off what's going on. And, just talk about the unbelievable inefficiencies of government, that this is an ongoing storyline of people who can just call the government. Like you would think. I've called once. I did a joke about it on my special where I one time called for an actual emergency and the cops didn't show up and seemed like they were just taking information from me to find me liable for it. You'd think on a swatting tip, they would actually make sure to have the information of the person calling and they could go, swatting calls are a intense emergency and we will address this immediately, but we need to do a video conference with you and your license just to validate that you're a real individual giving us this tip or something, some sort of a mechanism. And then, by the way, once they're there and they're swatting you, they give you just conflicting directions like walk backwards and sideways, but forwards at the same time. Listen to our instructions so I don't shoot you, unarmed young man. I know that this might be confusing as it's the middle of the night. We just busted open your door and are pretending like you are a hostage taker, even though there's no one else here but you in your own home. But we need you to focus and listen to our confusing instructions because otherwise we will shoot you. If you do not adhere to our very confusing instructions while you are going through this traumatic and disturbing experience and trying to figure out how to best play this, you better follow. We need you to work backwards, sideways, forwards, and do a ballet move at the same time. Now get up on your toes and do a twinkly step. All right, what do we got next? Oh, here's a good one. Here's a good one. Guys, I didn't read all the details on this one because we're not doing a fully detailed show. We're getting into light and stupid today. But the Supreme Court seemingly has ruled against ghost guns. What I'm still confused about the ghost guns is that if you just print your own ghost gun in your own home, what liability you got to show up to an office now and declare your ghost gun. I think that this goes now to the parts. You can't sell ghost gun parts because if you're selling ghost gun parts, it's considered as if you're selling the full gun. And so therefore you can't do that because pieces of guns are actually considered to be full guns. And so here is the line from Gorish. And then I'm going to tell you guys what the problem with the Supreme Court is. This is the line from Gorish. Besides, Gorish wrote, it was common. Actually, I want to read this before to illustrate the point of the opinion. Give me 1 second. Besides, Gorish wrote, it was common to refer to incomplete objects in their finished forms. A friend might speak of the table he just bought at IKEA, even though hours of assembly remain ahead of him, he said. In much the same way, an ordinary speaker might call Polymer 80's product a firearm frame, even though a little work is required to complete it. That is not to say anything capable of being turned into a weapon would count. Few would call a pile of unfinished logs a table, Gorish wrote. And now here's the problem. Once you're on the Supreme Court, you're a pretty competent individual. But let me tell you the way the rest of the population lives, which is you know how many things are one step away from being completed, but I will never take that last step. I think about how many items you have in your house. Here's an example. If you go into my bathroom, the towel holder thing has fallen to the floor. That happened 4 years ago. I have yet to put the towel holder thing back into the towel holder frame. Now, sure, if you're on the Supreme Court and you're the kind of guy who just deals with things, you might go, that's a completed towel holder. But at this point, after 4 years of it just sitting on the floor, is that a completed towel holder? Or are those now random loose garbage parts that will just sit in my bathroom forever as I continue to pretend, yeah, I'll fix that at some point? Do you know how many times I've bought furniture on Amazon? I've spoken about this on the show, and it went Amazon direct to dumpster, where I realized that there were too many parts and I didn't want to see the project through, and then I didn't want anyone to know about it, and I didn't want the garbage to sit in my bed in my apartment forever. So I just quietly in the middle of the night went to the dumpster and went, I hope nobody sees this. This is embarrassing. I've done that before. Think about how many things there are in your life where, it's not that hard to do, but you'll never get it done. I mean, I could tell you if I bought the ghost gun kit, I would start getting nervous. I'd be like, I don't know that I can attach this. It's going to firing on my face, or I'm going to actually rely on this thing. And then I'm going to be in trouble because I showed up the gun and the gun doesn't even attach properly. And then can I show up to the gun range to test the gun? I'd be swirling in thoughts. I'd be like, I don't want, dude, I spent a whole lot of money on, because I stopped drinking my tap water and I did a whole bunch of research on what the best thing to put on my countertop so I could purify the water is. And then when I got the thing, you could say that that is a finished purified water set. But the reality of it was that there were pieces from the set that you had to clean with bleach before you could use. And I'm like, I don't want to be responsible for poisoning myself. I don't want to be thinking about, did I properly follow the instructions about bleaching this stuff? And so it's now sat in a closet for 4 years. So you're gonna tell me that loose parts are considered completed things because sometimes some people will actually complete it? Let's poll the population and see how many other idiots and assholes out there exist exactly like me who purchase things all the time and never take the time to actually turn the raw components into the finished piece. So the idea that you as a competent individual don't just buy things and then leave them as the individual pieces. And so in your head, because you get things done, you just see individual pieces as a completed piece. That's not reality. So anyways, I'm going to, if I have this one correct, that they want to say the completed pieces are considered end results if it's close enough to the end results. So like if you just had metal, you'd have to actually turn the metal into the trigger. And then that's 2 steps removed. Pile of woods aren't a weapon because you have to turn. But if it's just 1 step removed from being the finished item, it's considered the finished item. That's ridiculous. How many of us out there never take the last steps on things? All right, let's take a couple of comments. Jake Moore. So America's biggest enemy is a dude that probably never had a pair of shoes or eaten a meatball sub on his way to get some from his huge bush girlfriend. Got it. Not sure if I followed that one. It had a lot of elements to it, which is fun. A lot of stuff going on in there. Guy likes meatball subs, doesn't eat meatball subs, got a big bush girlfriend. But maybe just reframe it. I like what you're going for. There's a lot loaded into that comment, but maybe just some clarity on who you're parroting as being America's biggest enemy. Or are you saying it's the dude that I just showed with the shirt off? I mean, that would tie in, but I have ADD. That to me was like a full 2 hours ago. Major Tom, do you follow baseball at all, Robbie? Not really. When I was in high school, I lived in Washington Heights. We were real close to Yankee Stadium, and they used to have $5 night at Yankee Stadium. We go there pretty often. There was a 10-minute bus ride over to the Bronx, and that's when the Yankees were great. I never followed regular season, but we'd get real into the playoffs. I guess if the Yankees were on the World, would I even watch the Worlds? Maybe, but you know, I don't. If I'm in a random town, I can go to a baseball game. I'll go sit in a baseball game and drink some beers. I like seeing a stadium I've never seen, but no, I'm not a big baseball fan. John Popick, shootings in Chicago have terrible response times. Falsely swatting someone gets a fully armed roll-up within 20 minutes. Make it make sense. Good point. Moderately removed. Robbie hasn't lived in some apartment for 4 years. He just brings the tower holding with him every time he moves. That'd be great if it was true. If I actually had a new apartment every year and was like, now, in your vision of this, Mr. Moderately Amused, is it because I'm such a creature of habit that I like having the broken towel holder, that I would bring the broken towel holder pieces and put them into the bathroom? And this all pretends that I even use towels, but let's just go with it. Maybe if I had the fixed towel holder, I would use the towels. But listen, let's not ADD here. This is a question for Moderately Amused. I don't know why I'm doing the Trump hands, but it's a question for Moderately Amused. Do you envision that I'm so comfortable with the broken towel holder that if I moved into a new apartment, I'd be like, I need that, and so I would replicate it in the new apartment? Or is it that I would convince myself the new spot doesn't have a towel holder, I already have the pieces for a towel holder, this is a new place, I'm starting over, let's bring this with, I'll actually build it this time, and then it would just leave there as a pile of garbage forever? I'm curious. You let me know. Give me the breakdown. All right, one more comment, and then we're getting back into the show. Junior, broken tower holder has sentimental value. Fair enough. All right. Let's thank another one of our sponsors, FENIXammo.com. Guys, go get your bag of bullets. We're always talking about the deep state, talking about the military apparatus. We're talking about how they're working against your best interests all the time. We're talking about how they're having super secretive chats that you could be focused on the super secretive chats instead of the people that they're murdering. And you know how you stock up your armory. You keep everything you need ready to go without supporting the deep state. Is you go over to FENIXammo.com. You pick yourself up a nice big old bag of bullets, and you can go to the range You can go hunt some stuff. You can have yourself a good time. FENIX Ammo, official sponsor of the Run Your Mouth podcast. All right, I want to talk about Bonnie Blue here for a second. I don't want to get too preachy. I'm over it. There is something, though, when you've partaken in vices in your life, such as pornography, and then you see the next generation going a little bit further with it, and you know that it wasn't good for you, and you're like, I don't think you want to do that. It's a little bit like I smoked weed in high school, but like I had this big old bong because weed was expensive and it was illegal, and you got your little dime bags. You'd be sharing your dime bags with your friends. You'd be cooking up popcorn and stuffing up to this and blowing it out the windows. And you'd be taking single hits from bowls and just getting totally rocked off your fucking ass. And so, yeah, I smoked weed in high school, but then you see kids now where you can just get like endless vapes and endless gummies. You never have to worry about smelling like weed, and you could just be more high than I ever was. And you're like, I don't think that's good. So like, I just wanted to say, not being preachy, but at the same note, sometimes you could see like the addiction and the shenanigans things ramping up and just being like, I guess it's easy to be in the old timer. Back in my day, we had to go into the woods and make sure a bear didn't rip off our dick as we masturbated to old magazines that were out there. That's the way a man should come into the world, learning to masturbate. So anyways, not being too preachy here, but there also, there's something to be said for all the talk about how porn is, takes advantage of women. In this case, I think this lady's taking advantage of herself. I mean, I guess we gave women the opportunity to go out there and produce the porn, and she's like, well, I will do what no one has done beforehand. When women were being exploited by men, they never thought to take it this far. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sleep with 1,000 men in one night. And then I love that she's like, I set the record, but there is no record book on this. I'd love if there was some like old lady who's like, after World War II, I slept with an entire barracks. Our heroes were filled with cum. Me and the gals went in there. We were quick. They were just popping right off. I don't know why that's an old lady voice, but anyways, let's try and stay on topic here. You got this Bonnie Blue lady, and they're pushing the thing a little bit further. But here, all right, I had two takeaways. These are my two humorous thoughts. One is for all the talk about women being exploited. This lady seems to be exploiting herself. And then two is, I saw this picture, and the article was Bonnie Blue heartifies with latest comments that she's there with with barely legal boys in Cancun. And I was just like, it's also kind of amusing to me that this is the inverse of Girls Gone Wild, where Girls Gone Wild, whatever that creep was doing, and you got these people partying out on Cancun, and then they find out that they're in this video and that it's there forever, and they're horrified. And now this is the inverse, where your 18, 19-year-old kid is on college break, drinking at the pool. Porn star's like, hey, I'll have sex with you and your entire squad. And then at some point, you're working a legal job at age, 40, going through divorce, trying to meet new people, and being like, I really hope that stays on OnlyFans and that people don't recognize what my stupid nipples look like. All right, we got a couple more random news topics. Kristi Noem tours El Salvador hellhole CCOT prison ahead of negotiations for more gangbangers deportation flights. All right, couple random takeaways. Firstly, whoever that guy is that I boxed in, can we make him the next president? Who is that guy who does the security detail when Kristi Noem is going into the dangerous prison? I feel like we're looking at the real American superhero who's done some of the craziest shit on the craziest missions, that they get the phone call. They're like, we need someone to do security detail as we go into the most dangerous prison in the world. And he's like, I got this. For all the action hero movies that we've seen with these lunatic characters who can take on everybody, doesn't matter what's going on, the Arnold Schwarzeneggers and the whatnots, I feel like in this picture, we're looking at a real life version of one of them. Or who knows, maybe he's just a pudgy drinker, and it's like all the other socialism we've been ranting about, how our government can't do anything, and maybe the soldiers are the same way. But I've met some soldiers. They seem to be competent people. I'm just saying, that guy for president, no election needed. I'll just put him up there as King Alpha. All right. Next is, I think I'm done reading YouTube comments for part of the problem because they float around in my head. And there was one fellow who kept commenting every time I was saying that the prison in El Salvador was bad. And he kept going, oh, that's just liberal propaganda. Where do you keep seeing it? I'm like, everywhere. This is from the New York Post. Every picture I've seen is of people being the Holocaust-y type things of just these steel 4 quadruple bunks, everyone being tucked in and walked like this. And then every single time it's referred to in every media publication, it's something along the lines of El Salvador's hellhole. That's why I'm done reading, because like sometimes I'm like, why is this guy arguing with me on that this is actually a good prison? And if it is a good prison, and I've gotten the information wrong because every single article and picture makes it look bad, and really it's a nice prison, and they've got underground bowling, and they're playing soccer in the yard, and it's safe, and everyone loves going there, then, you can email me, robsnewsroom@gmail.com. Hey, that prison's actually pretty good, and people get out of it, and they reform them, and they teach them math and science and stuff. Anyways, for the guy who for some reason thought that I only read liberal media coverage, and my takeaway was liberal propaganda spin of it being a bad prison, here's the New York Post also referring to it as a hellhole. And now, as for Kristi Noem, I don't understand, what is this, between killing puppies? You're like, hey, I still need to look tough. Can you take me down to the prison for a photo opportunity? I don't understand why you want to be engaging in this photo opportunity. That one doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Hey, I'm Miss Tough Lady. I'm Miss Tough Pants. So, bring me down there. Let's get a nice photo. Oh, guys, this might be the most important thing I've ever spoken about on the show. We're up there. If you've been mostly tuning me out, if you just like having me on in the background, every once in a while I say something that's really insane and you're like, what the hell did he just say? Now is the time to turn up the dial. And if for some reason you don't actually look at the screen and you just look at this, listen to this in the background, take a look at your screen, because this one's important. Now, I've said that I think crimes should be prosecuted for the crime that you've done, and that there's no reason to, throw a terrorist label on something. There's no reason to call it a hate crime. There's no reason to escalate crimes, because then that's actually prosecuting the thought that was in your head when you perpetrated the crime and not the action that you engaged in. And if you want some proof of what I'm describing when I say that, here you've got a buffet enthusiast. And I don't just say that because of his size. I say that because this is him either coming or going from the buffet. And he's got his Mad Max vehicle. And there's a lot to learn from this guy on his vehicle. Firstly, if you're a heavyset individual, apparently you don't need green energy cars. You can build whatever this is, and it can handle you. All right? 2 is, there's no reason to be waking up heavyset individuals who are on airplanes and getting them extender seatbelts, because as you'll see from when he crashes this into a car at some size, you're good. You're going to stay in place. You don't have to move. And now here you have it. It's a video of this 33-year-old who probably only has a couple months left to live anyways. So how much trouble do we want to give this guy? And they're saying that he saw a Tesla outside of this store, and, he's partaken in the I hate Teslas, I'm going to ram my green energy stupid Mad Max vehicle into that guy's vehicle. And they're saying that he did that because he's taking part in this anti-Tesla movement. As to whether it was that or him just wanting to defend the crab legs and, let other people know this is my territory. This is my buffet day. I'm taking down the Chinese buffet. Everyone better stay in their cars until I'm done with feeding time. It remains unclear. But now you've got this guy, 33 years old, buffet enthusiast, decides to take his Mad Max car and slam it into a Tesla vehicle. Now, I think he should be liable for driving a car into a Tesla vehicle, whatever the damages are. And now if that's considered reckless endangerment because he did it on purpose, I don't know what the punishment is when you purposely decide to ram your car into someone else's car. Interestingly enough, maybe that's a logic flaw of that. Yeah, I guess just the action itself of the damage to the car as to whether or not I guess if you intentionally did it in trying to just harm there's a difference of intentionally or not intentionally, because if you just back your vehicle into someone's car, we can get back to this Talmudic discussion later. the point I'm trying to make is, do you want to put a terrorist label on this guy's action? Leaves the buffet. He was coming to the buffet too hungry, saw the Tesla vehicle, making an impulsive decision. And so he decides to ram his car into the Tesla. So this is terrorism now? Because, I mean, if it's terrorism, what is he undermining our entire society? This guy should go to jail for life because he engaged in terrorism? To me, that's the concern of throwing on terrorism labels, is because the guy's action is being a goofball and being a little bit too hungry or too full from the buffet and making a bad decision of being on tape and ramming his car into a Tesla. But now if you want to say that this is terrorism and he's engaging in a movement right here when he partake in this action of undermining the entire fabric of our society, and so this guy needs to be tortured or go to jail for life, I don't know, that starts getting a little bit creepy and unnecessary to me. And I think that's the concern that I state when you start throwing around the terrorism title as opposed to just prosecuting people for the crimes that they're committing. All right. Someone, Meatballs, he would have done more damage sitting on the Tesla than running into one. Not bad. Here, we can actually watch the video. Look at that. Barely even moves. And look at all the stuff on his back. What is he? Oh, man. Is that a tire pump? Because he frequently explodes the tires on the car. That looks like a tire pump, right? And as if, what does he do? He just leans on it and hopes it doesn't break. There's no way that guy, or maybe he's got such strength that just takes one push before he gets winded. I also wonder, what is the bag in front of the car? I got a lot of questions about this kid. All right, let's move on. But like I said, you know, he's after the crab legs. Crockett Hot Wheels remark on Abbott fuels political debate. It's that hood lady from Texas. And, you know, it's not right calling Abbott Hot Wheels. That's inappropriate. The guy's a governor. He's in a esteemed position. We should have some class here. I mean, you're in Congress. And firstly, if you're going to be calling him anything, it's Wheelie Boy, okay? We already got a term for this. If you're already going to, I'm just saying, if you're going to be inappropriate and not nice, you're really going to talk down to the governor because of the fact that who would engage in such behavior? Who amongst us would be so reprehensible that they would do something like that? And of course, the Democrats, because they're taking heat, they're trying to be the compassionate party. Everyone's getting all upset at her for calling him Hot Wheels. And so the Democrats just responded, oh, yeah, that girl don't speak too good. All right. And then last story for today is, you know, you got the pyramids down in Giza. And, you know, people are all excited. They did this 3D underground imaging sonic stuff, and they found out that they got these giant towers, and they got these rings going around the giant towers, and it goes all the way deep into the Earth's crust. And I just want to say, I got two thoughts. The first is, you know, you got people, they're all excited. They want to go, look, it was a futuristic society, and they actually had a way of harnessing energy. And before you start blasting energy at these things, maybe that's the cap to the tunnel from hell. And Jews escaped it and then were forced to build the pyramids to keep the other hell people out. Have you guys even considered this? I'm just saying, before you want to just assume that these are actual power plants, maybe you want to make sure that they weren't capping a tunnel behind them. Okay, that's my first thought. My next thought is, we aren't doing enough to just fuck with future generations and like put together things that, you know, like we should make a museum paying tribute to the time that we were in Mars and how we cultivated Mars and the beautiful Martians that we slept with and the advanced society that existed on Mars, and just have a museum of it. And then like 3,000 years, they'll find the museum. And then the humans then will be like, man, we suck. How did they get to Mars 1,000 years ago? Has anyone thought about that? Just making the giant museum of bullshit that we never actually accomplished. And that way, maybe it will inspire people in the future into thinking that there's things that they haven't accomplished that they still can accomplish. But, you know, I feel like we can mess with future generations by just taking the content of Alex Jones or other people who come up with good fiction. Take Dianetics, Take maybe that will happen. Maybe our entire country will get destroyed at some future date and time, and people will find the Mormon temples out in Utah, and there'll be some fake transcript about the Zingwa creatures from the 9th planet of whatever, and then future societies will think that we were so advanced that that there was a time in which we were actually communicating with aliens from another dimension. All right, I think that's our show for today. I think that's enough show. I think I gotta get out in the car, start heading up to Boston. If you guys are in Boston, I think we're close to selling out like most or all of these shows. Dave Smith texted me the numbers the other day, and they were I was like, whoa, we're filling up some shows. So if you're out in Boston, grab your tickets now. Don't wait. Other than that, I got Des Moines, and then I got Steamboat, Colorado, and then playing a bunch of porches. So if you're holding back your porch from me, you're sitting at home, you're looking out your back window, and you're like, I got a beautiful porch, but I want this all to myself. Well, sharing is caring, and now is the time to shoot an email to robsnewsroom@gmail.com and let me know about that porch. You don't even need to have a porch. We call it Porch Store because I like sitting out on porches. Porches bring people together. It's a gateway between your home and the outdoor world where you can sit out there, maybe swing on something, have a drink. Your neighbor walks by, you can have a little bit of conversation with them. If it's a neighbor you don't like, you can ming-mong them. You can have your dog out to bark at them. Porches are a good time. But even if you don't have a porch, if you just got a backyard, I'll play your backyard. I don't discriminate. robsnewsroom@gmail.com. Let me know where you're at. Let me know what kind of property you got. Let me know if you'll serve us some cookies. Let me know if you'll make some moonshine. Let me know if you're growing some marijuana in that backyard. robsnewsroom@gmail.com. I'm going to start fitting things in as they make sense for the routes. Top of the list right now is Montreal and Orlando and San Francisco, or anywhere like Northern California would be cool. And other than that, there's other places that I'd like to play. So if you got a place, hit me up. Ben, want to come to Alaska? I would do Alaska. I'd be a little bit nervous about it being too expensive and losing too much money on it. But in conjunction with the Seattle gig, how far is the flight from Seattle to Alaska? I mean, it would be fun. I'd like to do a show in Alaska. I've never done Alaska. Stand-up used to talk about Cuckoo Charlies all the time. All right, guys, I think that's it. Matzo balls. Oh, moderately. He no longer cares about it. That it's all phonetical now. I don't know. All right, guys, that's our show. Thanks for hanging out. Back next week, probably Wednesday, with a new episode. And Robbie the Fire, all one word. Go watch Lampman and